As you see, I have a lot of different interventions that I use in my classroom. I'm actually in my classroom right now, but I can also make these at home and recreate them there. The way I use my intervention, I promised you that I would show you an intervention plan. Well, my district developed this intervention plan. It's called RTI PBIS Intervention Plan. And RTI stands for Response to Intervention, and PBIS stands for Positive Behavior Intervention Systems. So this is a plan that goes over both academic and behavioral intervention plans. And as you see, we write the date that the plan was created, we write the student's information, their name, their grade, their date of birth, and the team. The team can consist of a many number of people. It can consist of the teacher, the parent, the student, the speech pathologist, the occupational therapist, whoever you decide you want on the team. And underneath you write your name, your title, and you sign. And you write, you answer these questions about the data referral. So we have another form, has it been completed? Has it been turned in? We have these meetings once a month on these students. So why are we having the meeting? What were the results? So, okay, if we had a meeting because James is throwing fits whenever his mom leaves, we would talk about different strategies that we can use to try and help James stop throwing these fits. And that would be put in the results of this meeting. Other notes and considerations, there may be some separation anxiety, or he may just be going through a rough time. So if that's the case, you make sure that you add that in there. All right, and on the second sheet, we actually have our academic learning goal here at the top, and then we write down what the intervention is to address, how often we do it, how often we monitor this progress, and the date we have reviewed the progress. And then we do the same thing for our behavioral goals, depending on whether the student needs academic or behavioral. Now, with our academic, I have a lot of things in my classroom. I actually use an ABC book. This ABC book I actually found from Kim Adsit on adsit.net. She has a lot of ABC books. She has the boxes with the different letters on there with the pictures. The pictures the students cut out themselves. These are for older students, of course. I have modified it for my younger students. But they would cut these pictures out and post them on their letter boxes. Their letter boxes go from A to Z, and the way the students would use this is after they've cut out the boxes, put them all together, written their name on the very first page under my ABC book by, they would read it, say Y for yo-yo. That's something that helps them learn their letters and their letter sounds together, as well as something that begins with that letter. This is something that I've used with a few of my students for about 4 to 5 weeks, and I have seen significant improvement. I've used this intervention about 3 times a week, depending on their attendance. But whenever I can catch them, if they're a student who doesn't come to school very often, I grab them, we read their ABC book, and I've seen significant gains, even some as far as 10 to 15 letters in 1 quarter, which is a vast improvement. I also have this lovely intervention for numbers. It actually helps them recognize the number, the numeral. So they recognize the number 1, and then they actually match the quantity. So you're working on a number of different skills with this particular intervention, but it has helped a lot of my students actually learn the numerals and be able to verbally identify them for me. And what I did was, I received from Confessions from a Homeschooler. This was not free. It wasn't expensive, but it was not free. I printed it on cardstock. I laminated and cut it out. But I did print it double-sided so that I can use it over and over again. I like to use pom-poms with this with my students because they tend to do this. When we were in M week, we used M&Ms, and these mats, because they're laminated, are very easily wiped off and they are durable. Another book I've used is Numbers Galore, and as you see, it's by Lacey Yates, Wild About Teaching. I love blogs. Blogs are a wonderful place to find interventions and just ideas for your classroom. And in these, we have the student can write their name up there. You can have them make their own book individually, or you can do what I did. I actually, once again, printed these out on cardstock and laminated them so that they can be used multiple number of times, so that I can really hit those students that really need to work on their number recognition. So right here we have the number 0. You draw the number 0, you put the tally marks. Obviously, there would be no tally marks there. You put what's 1 more than 0 and 1 less. Now, for pre-kindergarten students, obviously, you wouldn't do the 1 less. That might be too difficult, but you never know. You may have a student who's ready for that. They draw the zeros and they write the word 0. I like this book a lot. My students have a lot of fun. I'm sure, as you can see, I have a glare from the laminating film, but also where the students have used their dry erase markers to clean it up. The only thing that I would change about this book, but you don't really want to reinvent the wheel, especially if you're trying to do this at home, is that she already has the number of circles that need to be filled in. I would take that number out so that my students could do it themselves, but as I said, you draw the number 1, you write the tally mark, 1 more of 1, 1 less, and then you also have the numeral and then the word. So this can actually be used for students who are struggling and also students who are advanced. You can have them work on different concepts, whatever you need them to work on. I have a few students who are working diligently on sight words, and we consider our number words sight words. So this ONE1 really helps them because not only are they spelling it, they're writing it, and they're seeing it in different forms so that it stays within their brains. Now, I have a couple of books here, and I'm sure everyone who's watching this post has books at home. I have these in my classroom as well as at my house. I have a 2-year-old daughter, and she loves The Wheels on the School Bus. The Wheels on the School Bus is a nice book because it goes to the tune of The Wheels on the Bus. And it goes through the different teachers and what the different teachers, tell the students as they get on and off the bus. And it helps them because you're singing it, but you can sing it and point to the words as you go along. This book also has a lot of rhyming words in it, and it has a lot of educational words in it that you like to teach your students.